Hello guys, in this video we'll talk about method calling. So to save time I have created three methods here. So one is this our instance method, don't get worried, okay? What are this method? Instance. So one is m1, m2, m3 method. So when you want to call this m1 method after m2 method, just listen carefully. If you want to execute m2 method just before m1 method, for example, when you create an object and call this method, so m1 m2 m3 will be executed. But if you want to execute as per your choice, just for example, if you want to execute m2 method just before m1 method, so what you need to do, you need to call this m2 method in m1 like this, m2. Now what happens here, now you are saying to void m1 that first you execute the m2 method and then later this will be executed. The simple logic, you call the m2 in m1 and you're saying first execute this and this will be executed. A simple logic, this is on the top and this is on the bottom, something like that, just remember it. So when you print this, nothing prints because we need to create an object, no? For so how to create an object, so test t equals to new test, right? Now t dot, you are calling m1 method. So just the logic is the first m2 method will be executed and this m1 method will be executed. I just print it. See, m2 method and m1 method is executed, right? Now the same way when you call the m2 method and this, now when you call the m1 method in m3, now what happens, you need to just guess it, m1. Now what happens in this is, sorry, so when you call m1 method in m3, now what happens, first m3 will call m1 method, right? So what is in m1, m2 and m1, so what will be the expected output, first m2, this is the method will be executed, then sorry, this first the m2 method will be executed, then later m1 method will be executed, then later this method, so m2 m1 m3 will be the output. So you just call here what, m3 method. So if you call the m3 method, first the m2 method will be because we called m2 method in the m1, so m1 we are calling in m3, so what will the m3 will check the m1 method. So m1 method is having two methods to be executed, one is m1 method and m2 method. So first what will be executed, m2 method will be executed, then later m1 method will be executed, then later m3 method will be executed. So that is the expected output. So when you print it, so m2 m1 m3, so in this case we can call the methods. So if you have any parameters to pass, you can simply pass the parameters also. So in the same way, for example, if m2 method is having something int a, so you need to pass some integer value here, 10, right? So the same output will be, you will have the same output. So how to call sys out of, so a, what will call this is a, right? So plus a is equals to, sorry, yeah, right? Oh, I think this we call it this method here. So something like that, I'm just a little bit confused here, no need to worry. So I think you understood how the methods will be called. So I thought to print like this, ysout sys out of a, okay? So when you print like this, you see the 20 will be printed, because we are calling m2 method, and that this 10 has been executed, and m1 m3 the same sequence, nothing to worry here. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. So we'll talk in next how to call the static methods. Okay.